Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Metal Talk, and it's Paul here talking to Laurence Jones. How are you, Laurence?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Always good to catch up with you, mate.
You too, mate. You too.
So, new album out, Bad Luck and the Blues. Came out on my birthday, so thank you. That was a nice little birthday present for me the other week.
There you go. All planned for you, sir.
It seems to be going down really, really well. Have you been pleased with the response?
Yeah, I've been shocked at the response, to be honest. I didn't expect it to be as, this well received, but at the same time, it felt right. So I guess when something's natural, it always shows through, doesn't it?
So it's your second album with Marshall Records, isn't it? How's it been like working with them?
Oh, it's been fantastic. I mean, really built the relationship on the first record together last year, just after COVID, and that was really great to get together. They was 60th anniversary, and I was my 10th anniversary from a debut album. So we came together there and supported Status Quo. Good old Marshalls on stage, and yeah, it was great. So we put in a lot of groundwork and learned a lot, working together through the first year. And so this time around, it was smooth sailing.
So was there a different approach to this album to previous ones?
To be honest, it was a same approach, just that the music was more lending to the approach that we were going for. And also, I think sometimes with records you get lucky, and sometimes people, you think, wow, this is going to be the one, and sometimes when you're a bit more relaxed, then it happens for you. That's always the way. So I guess I was just relaxed throughout the whole process. I just wanted to make a great album with some great guitar music on it.
Obviously, the album is I think sort of noticeably heavier, probably your heaviest yet. Was that sort of a natural sort of progression for yourself when you're writing?
Definitely. I mean, I've always been into the blues and blues rock. Jimi Hendrix, Gary Moore, Clapton, Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's what I grew up listening to, where I learned from. And I guess from that, I guess over the years through supporting artists like Glenn Hughes, Deep Purple, Status Quo, even opened up for Sir Ringo Starr in the Netherlands. So I guess yeah, my natural progression and seeing some of my heroes was more in that rockier route as well, and it opened me up to another world, a massive audience as well. And I really wanted to keep the blues print within my guitar playing, and especially with the way I phrase the vocals. But I wanted the songwriting to be rocky, to put on a great live show, have that upbeat. And yeah, the general motto was, let's make a great rock album that's got no ballads on.
Yeah, it is sort of noticeably sort of the floor. There isn't any sort of sort of saccharine in it, which is nice. It is it is a full on rock album.
Yeah, the last couple of albums I've done have tended to be, a bit more on the softer side, although I've been getting progressively rockier towards it, from my album The Truth to Laurence Jones Band to Destination, and now to this. It's all been, lifting up to that rockier edge. But this time I was like, yeah, what have I got to lose? I've got a New Year's resolution. I'm going to go to a power trio. I think that's my gut feeling, and I'm just going to go for it. And literally wrote about 6 of the tunes over 2 weeks over Christmas, and the other 4 I had from about 5 years ago that I just boxed, and sort of left there for when I was going to do my heavier album.
Yeah, obviously you've got Jack on bass, and he's been with you for quite a while, hasn't he? Did you ever get to see Virgil on the Accelerators when he was with them?
Yeah, that's the reason, I wanted him in my band. I
Yeah.
mean, when I was like 18, I was playing Upton Blues Festival, and I was playing the little pub the Star in, and he was on the main stage in the afternoon with Virgil, And I was just loading my equipment out, and I just stood there. They were playing "Are You Experienced" a Hendrix, and I was like, "Wow, that's one hell of a bass player." You know, laying it down with a trio. There's only a guitar and drums. You know, and he's creating all the music and the backing. So I thought, yeah, one day I definitely when I can afford him, I'll ask him to join my band. So yeah, Virgil actually, you know, they broke up the band,
Yeah.
and then that's when I said to Jack, you know, do you want to join? So yeah, we'd been friends for many years. Met, um, I'd worked on an album that I produced, Toby Lee's album, and I asked Jack to play on bass on that as well. So yeah, we've had a good working relationship, and I guess with that comes that trust as well on the record.
And obviously you got Ash on drums now. And was that through doing the Glen tour that you met Ash?
No, Ash was my he was one of my tutors at the university I went to when I was 16 to 20. Yeah. I went to the Birmingham Academy of Music and Sound, and it was like a rock course. It was like I'd done all my grades on my classical guitar from 8 to 18. And then at the age of 14, 15, I decided now I'm going to be into the blues and play a completely different style. So I taught myself, and I'd got a place in the conservatoire in Birmingham, and I went to try an electric guitar out in the shop. And they just happened to hear me play and said, "Do you want to do an audition upstairs? We're doing a rock school." And I was like, "Yeah, all right then." So did it, got a place, and ended up that same day having two places, and I actually chose the more rough and ready rock and roll route, even though I'd studied classical. My dad was absolutely shocked. He was like, he couldn't believe it. He says, and all that, and then that was crazy because I couldn't finish off my foundation degree because I got offered a tour with Johnny Winter, so it paid
Yeah,
off in the
yeah,
end.
yeah. You're not going to turn that down, are you?
But yeah, so I met Ash when I was 16, and he was the drum teacher there, and also did live performance. So I think he was one of the first people I ever played on stage with at the O2 Academy in Birmingham. It was like a showcase for the industry. Yeah, just him on drums and me on guitar. We did a little duo. So yeah, I go way back with him. And then obviously we linked up again when I supported Glenn Hughes on tour in 2018. And yeah, we just kept the friendship there. And in the lockdown, I said, "Do you fancy smashing some drums on my album?" And he said, "Yeah, he's going to smash it up and make it a number one." That's what his words were to me.
It's funny. One of the times I bumped into you relatively recently was at the Black Country Communion gig at Hammersmith, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And it's sort of funny. Did you know at that point, seeing Glenn on stage, that you were going to be going out on tour with him?
Yeah, I got to meet Glenn backstage that night, in his dressing room, and got to speak to him and said, "Hey, Laurence, I'm going to be supporting you on tour." And he was like, "Oh, really nice," and introduced us and to his band, and and a few of the lads there and part of the crew. And he was very nice, So I got to open up for him, and it was a great experience. It really was.
So obviously, with touring with him, and as you mentioned, the Quo tour, do you think subliminally that sort of again, had a little bit of influence on the writing of the new album's tracks?
Oh, definitely. And seeing the crowd's reactions and the venues, and yeah, just the energy on stage, and the way it made you feel, that sort of music, the way it gets you going. There's no other feeling. So I was like, well, I want a piece of that, you
Yeah, yeah.
know. And getting to watch them at the side of the stage is a bit of a different experience as well, because I'm used to standing on the stage, so I can learn little tricks from them, or
Yeah.
things they've picked up over the years. And I would often be quite cheeky and ask them, what was that about with a vocal when you did that there, so yeah, I guess a lot of it came from that. And especially with Status Quo, they are underrated, I
Mm.
think. They put on one hell of a live show, and I think they've got a lot of interludes and different riffs that's not actually on the record, in between songs. And it's a proper theatre show. It's a proper big show. And that's what I took from that.
So the new album is really powerful, and I think, you know, in that sort of format as a power trio. So I was been listening to it, and for me, you know, you've got, you know, the heavy rocking blues of you know, title track. You've got, you know, I'm Gone, which to me sounds like, you know, Hendrix jamming with Zeppelin. And there's sort of,
That's
you know,
fine.
there's, you know, bits of Zeppelin and Rory Gallagher and bits and pieces, you know, and Aerosmith, you know, not overtly, not like you're ripping off, but just, you know, that sort of vibe to things on it.
I mean, I've always been one that's, I wouldn't say into loads and loads and loads of bands, but every band you just mentioned there was a major influence for me growing up. You know, you got your Hendrix, the Aerosmith, you know, your Rory Gallagher, Robin Trower, Clapton, anything like that, you know, is what I love.
I know you cited Robin as a real influence on this particular album.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Just obviously I've known about Robin Trower for years, you know, but never really sat down and properly just sat there in a room and listened to his music and got my guitar out and jammed over the top of it, you know. So what I did in Christmas time, I came off tour from the Netherlands in November, and I just thought I'm going to watch some videos on YouTube, and I found this video. Robin Trower live at Harmony Bonn in Germany for the Rock Palace, and I've actually played that venue about 4 times. So I was like, okay, let's have a look at this then. And yeah, I was just blown away by his guitar, you know, his guitar playing. So I took a lot of inspiration from what he was doing, and the main thing I realized was he was tuning his low E string down to a D. So which is quite heavy in itself, you know, it's quite a heavy rock metal thing to do, but the way he was still playing soulfully, like that Hendrix thing, gave it its own unique sound. And that was one thing I looked and chose to do before sitting down and writing the songs, that most of the songs on this album were going to be in that drop tuning.
Oh, it's you know, it sounds, you know, the production is great.
Thank you.
And it is, you know, let's say that power trio, as we mentioned earlier on, you know, it works really, really well. I saw the Groundhogs on Saturday, and I know you're you know, it's one of your formative. They
Yeah, yeah,
still sound, you know, incredible. It was, you know, Ken's obviously, you know, with Kenny
like,
having passed away. Yeah, just a friend of mine said you can see where Motorhead got some
yeah,
of their style from it. But there is, you know, there is always that history, isn't there? As you say, you know, with Hendrix, and it just, you know,
yeah,
you just cut out the fat, and it's just
exactly. It's just
pure playing.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do on this record. I wanted to go in there and everything had to be live, you know. So we went in and we only spent a week recording it in the studio.
Wow.
And so it was like 3 or 4 days we'd done all the songs, and then I just did 2 days on the vocals, a day on percussion and tambourines, and a tiny bit of backing vocals, and then yeah, a couple of days for just tweaking the guitars and just making sure everything's nice and tidied up for you know, Chris Sheldon and mixing engineer. So yeah, it was all cool. It was really easy process in the end because we'd learned a lot from the first record, of how it was in there. So it felt like, yeah, putting on some old slippers and just being right, we've done this once, we know what we're doing now.
And it's great you recorded that way, because it does add that sort of, you know, that edge to it, doesn't it? You know, a real sort of, you know, life to the recordings, and it shows on
Yeah,
the record, I think.
I mean, all the solos, I didn't sit there and go, right, I'm going to play this before going to studio. I know I'm going to play that solo there at 2 minutes in, absolutely perfect with this thing I've been practicing in my bedroom. I was just like, actually, I'm not going to learn anything. I'm just going to go off and play whatever comes to me in that moment. I'm more capable now. You know, I've learned enough over the years. You just got, I trusted myself a lot more on this record, and even trusted the band. I wasn't saying to them, you know, play this, play that. Obviously, I came with a song and I said, these are the chords, this is the structure, that's how I want, you know, the rhythm, etc. But yeah, having Jack and Ash, you know, involved on the record, and that bit of experience behind it and confidence was definitely good, because I knew what direction I wanted to go in.
I've been talking to lots of, you know, your peers and other artists recently, talking to, you know, Chantel McGregor, talking to Ollie Brown, talking to
Oh,
Chris
cool.
Barris, talking, to all these sort of, various guys recently. And I know, their material has got heavier over the years. And it's interesting to see how they've developed, and they've sort of felt their own freedom to do what they want, how they want it. And I guess that's the growing reputation. And do you feel you're in that sort of area now?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I put my debut album out there, 2012, it wasn't just straightforward blues. It was a blues crossover album. So I feel like I've always shocked my fans. I've always tried and done something different. I've always tried to push the boundaries. But in terms of this being popular, it wasn't for that reason. It was the fact that I love power trios, but I feel like there is quite a new wave of rock at the moment. I am playing a festival, New Wave of Classic Rock Festival at KK Steel Mills this month, which should be exciting. So yeah, there is a real vibe about it, and Planet Rock obviously get behind a lot of bands, and they're a great radio station, and so yeah, there's a lot of fans out there. So I think the music lends to that way, but it's just fun to play.
Yeah.
We're all young people at the end of the day. You just love doing it, and it's nice to do a little bit mix of everything that you want to do, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Gary Moore earlier, and I think he's a prime example. Obviously, coming up from from all his various styles that he had. Obviously, he really hit obviously big time with Lizzie, and then went into his own solo stuff, which was sort of basically proto heavy metal at the time, wasn't it? And then back Scars, and he did sort of a different beat, which was a really interesting album. All these various things, and it's lovely to have that freedom, isn't it? Just to experiment, and just to just stretch yourself artistically.
That's brilliant. I mean, if every album was the same, or similar, I think people would get a bit bored. Doing the same album for over a 15-year career, would be a little bit boring. So it's nice to have variety, and it also attracts different fans from all over the world, and different types of people, and also brings them all together. That's what I love about the music and the live aspect.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned Toby Lee earlier, and I've seen Toby a couple of times this year. He was doing a support, and I also saw him at a gig at the Palladium that Brian May had put together for Elvis's old guitarist, and just sort of seeing Toby on stage, is incredible. How do you think that the newer generation of blues guitarists, or young rock guitarists, are being accepted generally by the audience? Do you see quite a mix of ages in amongst who you play to?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, it was a lot more of an older audience. I started in the pubs and the blues clubs and the Labour clubs, like the old school days, from like 3 years, and slowly built it up to ticketed events when I got my own fan base, from like 7 people to 20 people, to slowly moving up to the different C to B type venues, and to some A type venues in the Netherlands. So it's just been a slow build. It doesn't just happen boom overnight like some people think it does. So I think it's great that all these youngsters are coming up, and obviously Toby started when he was young, and I think I got him on one of the first people to get him up on stage. And I'm a big fan to help younger people, because Walter Trout said to me, he helped me, gave me one of my first tours, and said, now you've got to return the favor to at least one person. Now I've done it for blues, and passed the torch down, because he said that's what BB King said to me. So now you've got to carry on and do that. So that's what I did, and that mentality is good, because it keeps it alive, and the more younger people that can get into the blues and rock is just great, because there is a lot of crap music out there at the moment, isn't there? So it's nice to have real music in there. So it's always a positive, that is always.
It has been. I think, as you said, the rock crowd have sort of dragged back some of the attention. I think people see that, rock music fans, I think, and blues music fans are always there.
Yeah,
If they're loyal, aren't they? I think, but the pure nature of pop music, it's very transient, isn't it? Someone who's in this week, 3 months
yeah.
down the line, where have they gone? So,
It's
you,
interesting. You can have that fast career, or you can have a steady, building up career, which has always been my intention. When I was very younger, I got offered a pop deal with Sony when I was like 17, but I didn't want to take it because I wanted to play blues music, and they didn't understand. So they wanted me to play, with a backing track and all that. So I didn't want to do that. So I think that people out there doing it now, they seem to be having a lot more independence, starting up a band and going out themselves, which is fantastic. That there's levels for that, but I think also at the same time it's very hard for musicians at that level to make money as well, with the royalties now, and the way Spotify and the streaming and everything works
yeah,
like that for. So I think some people in all cases will get lucky, and other people won't. But my best advice is, just go out there and keep doing it. If you love the music, then it's not about anything else. The success will come then.
yeah. Well, I think I first saw you over a decade ago at Cambridge Rock Festival, and seen you sort of several times over the years, and it's been great to see that progression with your playing. But you've always had that commitment to your music, and it's been great to see, and it's obviously paying dividends now. And I know it's a long road, but you obviously love what you're doing, so
Oh, it's been a
it's all good.
I've definitely paid my dues, and had the blues at times, playing to even, I think I played to one man and his dog in a pub once. It's
Yeah,
but now, I always pinch myself still, because I just did a gig at the weekend in Oxford, played Bunkfest to, I think it was 30,000 people over the weekend. They had like 7,000 people watching us headlining it. So it was a amazing feeling, and the album had charted in the official UK charts. So yeah, it's nice to get the recognition. But the most thing I'm excited about is actually playing the music on stage. I'm actually buzzing to be on stage and look at the set list now and go, oh, I can't wait to get out there and rock out these, and which is what it's about. I think if you feel like that, then it comes across tenfold, doesn't it?
yeah, absolutely. And obviously you've got the UK tour coming up beginning of next year.
Yeah. No, I've got the UK tour. It starts in December.
December,
We're
right.
kicking it off at Planet Rockstock. And we'll check out the dates. We've got Kendal, Sheffield. There's loads on there that I can't even think of right now.
Well, I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you at Bury St Edmunds.
But yeah, that's in February. We got Arlington Arts Centre. Yeah, we got, and I'm just choosing some nice theatres for February and March. In 2024 at some of my favourite venues for the fans to come out and carry this tour on. Try and get to as many places as we can in the UK, because the album's been really well received in the UK, and that was one of my missions signing to Marshall, was to come back home after being on a Dutch record label and American record label, and put my stamp back here and put my feet back on the ground here. So it's been really good fun.
Yeah, and you've got some great support, haven't you, for the tour, including local boys Sweet Crisis, or local to me, Sweet Crisis. I saw them on Saturday again.
Brilliant.
I've seen them recently anyway.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Great band.
And yeah, great bunch of guys, and
Well, Piers,
yeah,
he's recorded a few of my albums. He did What's It Gonna Be and Take Me High, both at Headline Music Studios, which is his studio in Harston, Cambridge.
yes,
Uh,
yeah.
So yeah, we got a good relationship together, and we actually invited Mike Vernon down, who produced Take Me High record. I got him out of retirement. I phoned him up one day and pestered him and said, "Will you come down?" He said, "Well, yeah, seeing as you done it," I said, "I want to make a young modern blues rock crossover album, and you're the man to do it. And Pierce was egging me on as well. So yeah, we've got a good funny relationship together. He's a good lad.
That's going to be a fun tour.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be awesome. And then yeah, we're just gonna do the summer festivals. I plan to go out to the Netherlands again, which is where I got a good market out there. So yeah, just a lot on the cards, a lot of exciting things that I can't say about right now as well. That's in the pipeline with a new album, and yeah, just really happy right now.
I was going to say more writing and more
Yeah, yeah.
recording.
No, I'm yeah, I do plan to do that at some point, but I think for now, yeah, I'm gonna really ride this album out because I'm happy playing it.
Well, I say it's a phenomenal album, really good. I genuinely encourage everyone who's watching this or reading this to go out and grab a copy, and to see you on tour, because you know
Thank
that's where you really live, isn't it? On
you. Yeah,
tour, and that's where you're at your finest, I think.
bro.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time today, mate. It's been good catching up with you again.
Yeah,
Um,
you too.
I will see you on the road soon.
Awesome. Welcome anytime. Cheers.
Okay, take care, mate.
Take care.